Okay, now we are looking at the human karyotype. All right, so I've decided to teach this content in a question and answer format. So there will be a question, and then I will be showing you the answer to the question, and there are mark allocations, ticks, to familiarize yourself with how these questions are supposed to be answered. The first question is, what is a karyotype? Now, the definition of a karyotype is a three-part definition, okay? A karyotype is a diagram showing the number, types, and arrangements of chromosomes within the nucleus of a cell. A karyotype is a diagram that is showing the number, the different types, and the arrangement of chromosomes within the nucleus of a cell. How are the chromosomes arranged? So we'll be looking at this criteria. We will be looking at the arrangement first before we go to the types and to the numbers. In a diploid cell, remember a diploid cell, we said it's a cell that contains two sets of chromosomes, one set from the mother in her ovum, one set from the father, and during fertilization, these two sets of chromosomes come together to form a diploid cell. And we said diploid cells are cells that are somatic cells. Chromosomes are arranged in 23 homologous pairs. Okay? 23 homologous pairs. For now, just ignore the word homologous and just think about 23 pairs. I will be explaining to you later on in the lesson what are homologous chromosomes. So the arrangement of the chromosomes within the nucleus of a diploid cell is that they are arranged in 23 pairs. All right? And then, so a pair, remember, contains two items. Like a pair of shoes would contain two shoes. A pair of earrings would be two earrings. So if we have 23 pairs of chromosomes, it means that in total we would have 46 chromosomes in total. The first 22 pairs are called autosomes. The first 22 pairs are called autosomes. These are what we call body chromosomes. Why do we say that they are body chromosomes? In terms of the DNA and the genes that are carried on these autosomes, the genes are genes for characteristics that are bodily, such as your foot size, the shape of your eyes, the color of your eyes, your blood type, your height, and etc. So autosomes are the first 22 pairs. Remember, how many pairs do we have in total? We have 23 pairs. The first 22 pairs are called autosomes. These are body chromosomes. And the 23rd pair are referred to as gonosomes. Now, gonosomes are sex chromosomes. Okay, guys? These are sex chromosomes because they determine one's sex. All right. Now, there is something that I would like to caution. You see that we are talking about body chromosomes and sex chromosomes being gonosomes. Now, people mistake body cells with body chromosomes, and they also mistake sex cells with sex chromosomes. Please do not do this mistake, okay? Now, remember, we are looking at a cell, all right? Within the cell, we have a nucleus, okay? Now, within the nucleus, we are studying the different types of chromosomes. So, for example, we would have chromosome pair number 1, and then we would have chromosome pair number 2, okay, until chromosome pair number 22. Now, chromosome pair 1 to chromosome pair 22 are called autosomes. These are the body chromosomes. So we are looking at chromosomes within a cell. All right? Now, let me just note this down. So if this is a somatic cell, the whole thing is a cell. All right? But within this somatic cell, we are looking at chromosomes inside the cell. The first 22 chromosomes within the cell are called autosomes, and the 23rd pair within the cell are called gonosomes, which are 6 chromosomes. So do not misconstrue body cells with body chromosomes. Okay? To avoid this mistake, do not call the autosomes body chromosomes. Just stick to calling them autosomes and stick to calling 6 chromosomes gonosomes, so that you do not misconstrue gonosomes for gametes and autosomes for body cells. Stick to the scientific terminology and you will not confuse them. Okay. Right, let me just erase this so that we may continue. So going back, chromosomes are arranged in 23 pairs within a diploid cell. Okay? The first 22 pairs are said to be autosomes, and the last pair, the 23rd pair, is said to be gonosomes. Okay, guys? Now, let's contextualize that by looking at the karyotype itself. This is what we call a karyogram. Okay? A karyogram is a picture showing the karyotype. Now, when we analyze this karyogram, or let's just, for the sake of not confusing you, say that it is a karyotype. So when we look at this karyotype, you will see that we have individual chromosomes, and these individual chromosomes are arranged in pairs. Okay? So one pair contains 2 chromosomes. What you will realize in this particular diagram is that the chromosomes are unreplicated. They have 1 chromatid each. So this is one unreplicated chromosome. This is another unreplicated chromosome. Together, these 2 chromosomes form pair number 1. Okay? And here as well, we have 1 unreplicated chromosome and the other unreplicated chromosome. Together, these 2 individual chromosomes form pair number 2. So if you can check, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 until chromosome pair 22, and then we have a 23rd pair over there. So, like we said, in a diploid karyotype, we are going to have 23 pairs in total, but if we count them individually, we have 46 chromosomes in total. Okay? We said that chromosome pair 1 to chromosome pair 22, these pairs of chromosomes are referred to as autosomes. Okay? And then we have our 23rd pair over there. Our 23rd pair over there. And that pair is referred to as the 23rd pair that contains gonosomes. Okay, so this is an autosome, an autosome, an autosome, an autosome until there. Autosome, autosome. However, on the 23rd pair, we have one gonosome and we have another gonosome. Okay. Now, something that I want for us to look at is that our gonosomes are what we call sex chromosomes. They are sex chromosomes because they determine sex. Okay? Now, when we look at the gonosomes, when we want to determine whether this karyotype belongs to a male or belongs to a female, we specifically look at chromosome pair 23. We specifically look at our gonosomes. If the gonosomes are an XX, we say that karyotype belongs to a female. All right? However, let me just erase there. However, if the gonosomes are XY, that karyotype belongs to an individual who is a male. Guys, please do not refer to sex as gender. Don't say gender, say sex, okay? Gender and sex mean two completely different things. I know it is a misconception to think that when we speak about sex, we are speaking about gender. They do not mean the same thing. So when we speak about sex, we are speaking about how the gonosomes are composed. An XY is a gonosome combination of a male, and an XX is a gonosome combination that belongs to a female. Okay, now, like I said, when we want to determine whether the karyotype belongs to a male or a female, we specifically look at chromosome pair 23. Okay, now, something that I want us to check again when you're analyzing a karyotype. An X gonosome and a Y gonosome does not have an X and a Y shape. It does not necessarily have an X and a Y shape. And you will not be given always that this is an X gonosome and this is a Y gonosome. You may not be given that in the exam, depending on the examiner. If you have a gracious examiner, they may label it such as here, X and Y, and then that would indicate a male. Or if it's a female, it will be XX gonosomes and it will be labeled as such. However, you will not always be given that this is a X gonosome and this is a Y gonosome. Now, in that case, how do you spot the difference? How do you know if it's an XX or an XY? If they are not the same size, the larger one, we assume that it is an X gonosome, and the smaller one, we assume that it is a Y gonosome. Okay, guys? However, if they are the same size, if both of them are large or if both of them are small, both of them will be XX. I'm particularly talking about pair number 23. If they are different sizes, the larger one is an X, the smaller one is a Y. But if they are the same size, maybe both of them are large or both of them are small, we assume that it is an XX, and that type of combination in the gonosomes would be a combination that belongs to a female. All right. So on the previous slide, we looked at a karyotype of a diploid cell. Remember, a diploid cell contains two sets of chromosomes. However, here we are going to be looking at a karyotype of a haploid cell. All right? A cell that contains only one set of chromosomes. Again, we have individual chromosomes, and as you can see, they are unreplicated. They are chromosomes with only one chromatid. So here, instead of having pair 1, the chromosomes are arranged individually. Okay? Now, Here we have chromosome 1, not pair 1. We have chromosome 1, chromosome 2, chromosome 3, chromosome 4, until chromosome number 23. All right? Now, how are these chromosomes arranged? In a haploid cell, chromosomes are arranged individually, not in pairs. Chromosome number 1 until chromosome number 22 are still our autosomes. And then the 23rd individual chromosome will either be an X or it will be a Y. Okay, now let's look at this. Remember, we have two sex cells. Let's say, for instance, this is our sperm cell and there is our ovum. In a haploid cell, in a gamete, chromosomes are arranged individually. So I am going to draw replicated chromosomes just for the sake of variety. So we would have chromosome 1, just like we see over there. We would have chromosome 2. Okay, and for example, in the ovum, we would also have chromosome 1 of the ovum, and then we would have chromosome 2 of the ovum. Okay, we know that there are 23 in total, but for the sake of teaching, let's just limit that to just 2. Now, during fertilization, remember, the nucleus of a haploid sperm will be fertilized by the nucleus of a haploid ovum to form a zygote. So let's say that is our zygote. Now, what happens during fertilization? Chromosome 1 of the sperm, there it is, chromosome 1 of the sperm will form a pair with chromosome 1 of the ovum. So this is chromosome 1 of the sperm, and this is chromosome 1 of the ovum. During fertilization, they come together to form chromosome pair 1, homologous chromosome pair 1. All right? And chromosome 2 of the sperm and chromosome 2 of the ovum, during fertilization, they will come together to form chromosome pair number 2. Okay, guys? Now, this cell contains 2 sets of chromosomes. Why? When we look at one pair, this one chromosome comes from the ovum, and this one chromosome comes from the sperm cell. Okay? This one chromosome comes from the ovum, and this one chromosome comes from the sperm cell, and together they form pair number 1. It is 2 sets of chromosomes because in each pair, one chromosome is from the ovum and one chromosome is from the sperm cell. Okay. Now, in terms of, let me just erase. Sorry for the delay. Okay, in terms of the gonosomes, how are the gonosomes inherited? Let's say, for an example, the 23rd chromosome in the in the sperm cell is a Y gonosome, and the 23rd gonosome in the ovum is an X gonosome. All right. Remember, gonosomes are chromosome pair number 23. All right. So If we have, let's check over there, if the sperm contains a Y gonosome and the ovum contains an X gonosome, it means that the zygote will inherit an X from the ovum, as you can see over there, and it would inherit a Y gonosome from the sperm cell, as you can see over there. And together, the X and the Y, this zygote will grow up to be a male. All right? However, if the sperm also contains an X gonosome, or an X chromosome 23, then the zygote will inherit two X chromosomes. One X chromosome is from the sperm, and the other X chromosome is from the ovum. During fertilization, they come together to form chromosome pair number 23. Okay, guys? In a haploid cell, just to go back, a sperm or an ovum, chromosomes are arranged in 23 individual chromosomes or 23 single chromosomes, as you can see over there. There is therefore a total of 23 chromosomes. It is one individual chromosome times 23, versus in a diploid karyotype, we would have 2 chromosomes per pair times 23 pairs, which will give us 46. In this case, it's one chromosome because they are arranged individually times 23, which will give us a total of 23 chromosomes in number. The first 22 individual chromosomes, like I said, are called autosomes. The first 22 individual chromosomes, 1 until 22, are called autosomes, and the last individual chromosome, I apologize for that error, the last individual chromosome is a gonosome. It will either be an X or a Y gonosome. Okay. Okay. In the previous slides, we said that chromosomes within a diploid nucleus, when we analyze the karyotype of a diploid nucleus, that the chromosomes are arranged in homologous pairs. On this slide, we will be discussing what a homologous pair of chromosomes is. So there's quite a bit of information. Please do take notes. Okay. The first question is, what is a homologous pair of chromosomes? Again, this is a three-part answer. So let's look at what a homologous pair of chromosomes is. It is a pair of chromosomes. One is maternal. The word maternal means from the mother, means mother, okay? And one is paternal, meaning father. Okay, so it is a pair of chromosomes, like I explained to you in the previous slide. One chromosome is from the ovum, and then another chromosome is from the sperm cell. They come together to form a pair during fertilization. So a homologous pair of chromosomes is a pair of chromosomes. One is maternal and one is paternal, and they are similar in size, okay? They are not exactly the same size, but they are similar in size, more or less. They contain the same genes at the same locus. Okay, so a homologous pair of chromosomes is a pair of chromosomes. One is maternal, one is paternal. They are similar in size. They contain the same genes at the same locus. So we have terms within our definition. Let us describe what a gene is and what a gene locus is. So when you speak about a gene, what is a gene? A gene is a small segment, a small piece, or a small part of a chromosome or a DNA that codes for a specific trait. When we talk about traits, it is a scientific term referring to characteristics. Okay? So a gene is a small piece of DNA that codes for specific traits or specific characteristics. Okay. Now remember what we said. We said that a chromosome is DNA that is coiled around histone proteins. Okay, so whether you say that a gene is a small piece of DNA or you say that it is a small piece of a chromosome, it doesn't really matter because DNA is contained within the chromosome. Okay, guys? And now what is a locus? A locus is a specific location where DNA is found on a chromosome. So a locus is a specific location or position on a chromosome where a gene is found. Okay. Going back to the karyotype, let's analyze two karyograms, pictures of a karyotype. Now, let's look at this karyotype. If you get the question, that is asking, this karyotype belongs to which an individual that has which sex, a male or a female. I said to you, you don't look at chromosome 1 to chromosome 22. That will not tell you the sex of that individual. Okay? You specifically look at the last pair of chromosomes. You specifically look at the gonosomes, pair number 22 and 23, And like I said to you, if they are the same size, as you can see over there, both of them are XX. Remember, you will not always be labeled for to say it is XX, but if they are the same size, it means that they are both X's. Okay? And if they are both X gonosomes, it means that is a karyotype belonging to an individual who is a female. Like we said, all these chromosomes are unreplicated. They have one chromatid each. The first 22 pairs of chromosomes are homologous, and they are called autosomes, while the 23rd pair are called gonosomes. And then if they are both XX, it means that individual is a female. All right? So the heading will be a karyotype of a normal human female. All right? Let us comparatively look at that karyotype over there. So what we will see on this karyotype, the difference is on the gonosomes, on pair number 23. I said to you, when they are not the same size, the larger one is an X gonosome and the smaller one is a Y gonosome. Okay, let us look at the articulation. All these chromosomes are also unreplicated. They have one chromatid each. The first 22 chromosomes are autosomes. The first 22 pairs of chromosomes are autosomes, pair 1 to pair 22, and they are often homologous. But the 23rd pair we refer to as gonosomes, and as you can see, they are not homologous. What did I say to you again? I said to you that a homologous pair of chromosomes must be the same size, okay? When we look at these chromosomes, are they the same size? No, they are not. They are not the same size, therefore they are not homologous. Okay, guys? So there are, and we have an X chromosome and a Y chromosome. Therefore, this karyotype belongs to an individual who is a male. Whew, that was a very long lesson, filled with so much concepts to learn, filled with so many terms for us to learn as well. So we have reached the end of the lesson. However, as per usual, if this is not your first time checking my videos, I never ever leave you without giving you some assessment questions. So let us look into some exam type questions so that we can make sure that we have learned something in this lesson. Remember, guys, never ever study without assessing yourself. Assessment is a very important component of studying. So on the following slides, we will be looking at some exam type questions. We'll be doing question and answers. Okay, let's get right into it. Okay, question number 1. Question number 1.1. The diagram below represents two forms of a chromosome. Two forms of a chromosome, meaning these two diagrams are a chromosome. This first diagram is a chromosome and the second diagram is a chromosome as well. Now, what do we do when we get a diagram? We study the diagram first before we even look at the questions. That's why I've hidden all the questions prior. Let's see. Diagram 1 is a chromosome. How does it differ from diagram 2? Diagram 1 has one chromatid, whereas diagram 2 has two chromatids. So diagram 1 is an unreplicated chromosome because it contains one chromatid, and diagram 2 is a replicated chromosome because it contains two chromatids. And in a replicated chromosome, we said the two chromatids are held together by a centromere. Therefore, A would be a centromere because, as you can see, it is in the middle and it is holding the two chromatids together. All right? So how do we move from an unreplicated chromosome to a replicated chromosome? DNA replication has to take place during interphase, like we said in the slides of the lesson. Question number 1 would, of course, be identify part A. And then the answer to that, we said part A is a structure, as you can see, in the center of a chromosome that holds the two chromatids together. And that structure is the centromere. Question 1.1.2, identify the process that leads to the formation of chromosomes presented by diagram 2. So what process? Keyword, what process? Nothing else, what process? So whatever answer that we give must not be a structure, must not be a cell, must not be a phase, but it must be a process. So which process results in a chromosome such as in diagram 2? Diagram 2 has two chromatids from a chromosome that has one chromatid. And that process would be DNA replication. Question 1.1.3, during which phase of the cell's life cycle? Which phase? Not structure, not anything else. Which phase? What is a phase again? A phase is a period in time. Which phase of the cell's life cycle does the process mentioned in question 1.1.2 above occur? So which phase does DNA replication occur? And we know that that phase is called interphase. That is a total of 3 marks. Moving on to the next set of questions. Right. Question 1.2, the diagram below represents a karyotype of a human cell. Okay? A human cell, meaning 23 pairs of chromosomes and 46 chromosomes in total. Now, let's analyze this karyotype. We have chromosome 1, chromosome 2, chromosome 3, chromosome 4, chromosome 5, chromosome 6, chromosome 7, until chromosome 22. After chromosome 22, we have chromosome X and chromosome Y. All right. Now, what do we gather from this karyotype? The first thing that we can identify is that this is not a diploid cell. This is not a karyotype of a diploid cell. This is a karyotype of a haploid cell. Why? If it was a diploid cell, it would contain, firstly, 23 pairs of chromosomes. But when we look at the chromosomes, they are not arranged in pairs. They are arranged individually. So this is chromosome 1, not pair 1, because we only have 1 chromosome. This is chromosome 2. This is chromosome 3. So this has 23 individual chromosomes. So it is chromosome 1, 2, 3 until chromosome 22, and chromosome Y and chromosome X. How many chromosomes do we have in total? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 until 22, chromosome Y 23, and chromosome X 24. Now, this raises eyebrows as well, because we know that a haploid cell must have a total of 23 chromosomes. Now, in this case, we have 22 chromosomes ending there, plus chromosome Y plus chromosome X. Therefore, we have a total of 24 chromosomes. So there's a problem, okay? There's a problem. A haploid cell must have 23 chromosomes. However, this one has a total of 24 chromosomes. And another thing that we must determine is whether this is a male, this karyotype belongs to a male, or this karyotype belongs to a female. Remember, a female karyotype would have which gonosomes? It would have X, right? But this one has X and Y. Therefore, this karyotype would therefore be that of a male individual. Okay. After that analysis and studying the diagram, let us now go into the examined questions. The first question here, would the karyotype above best represent that of a gamete or a somatic cell? A gamete or a somatic cell. Remember, a gamete has a haploid number of chromosomes, 1 set, and a somatic cell would have a diploid number of chromosomes, meaning 2 sets. Okay? Now, does this karyotype represent, or does it show 2 sets of chromosomes? No, it doesn't. It shows 1 set. Because on each position, we have 1 chromosome instead of 2 chromosomes. If we had 2 sets of chromosomes, each position would have 2 homologous chromosomes. Okay, so the answer to that is a gamete. The follow-up question to that is, explain your answer to question 1.2.1 above. Of course, you are going to be required to provide a reason as to your answer to question 1.2.1. So why do we say this karyotype represents a karyotype of a gamete? Firstly, your reason might be because it is haploid, or it contains a single set of chromosomes, whereas a somatic cell would have a diploid number of chromosomes, or it would have 2 sets of chromosomes. All right? Remember, the question says keywords are especially important, or instruction words are crucially important. Explain. Hence, it is 2 marks instead of 1. Okay, so you mention and give a reason. Right, it is haploid. It contains a haploid number of chromosomes, 1 mark. Or, if you didn't say that, you may say it contains a single set of chromosomes, whereas a somatic cell would have a diploid number of chromosomes, or a somatic cell would have 2 sets of chromosomes. Or an alternative answer would be, this karyotype contains only 1 chromosome in each position, whereas a somatic cell would have how many chromosomes? 2 chromosomes at each position. Following question. So here we mark 1 explanation each for 2 marks. The following question. Identify the error included in the diagram. So there is an error. What is it? What is the problem? Remember, we identified it earlier. A gamete or a haploid cell must have how many chromosomes? 22 chromosomes plus either X or Y, to give us a total of 23. Okay? However, this one has 22 chromosomes plus a Y plus an X. So it is 22 plus 1, 23 plus 1, which gives us a total of 24. And it should not be like that. A human karyotype should not. So this karyotype should contain either a Y chromosome or an X chromosome. 1 gonozome, not both. So that is the error that we had identified earlier on. So how do we articulate this? Okay, so you can either say there are 24 chromosomes instead of 23. That is the error. Or you can say that there are 2 gonosomes instead of 1. A gamete must have 1 gonosome. Remember, in each position we must have 1 chromosome. And the same goes with in position 23, we must have 1 chromosome, either the Y chromosome or the X chromosome. All right? So we have only 1 here. We mark only 1 answer for 1 mark. The last question in this set of questions, what is a karyotype? So this is a standard cognitive level 1 reciting question. A karyotype, like we said, is a diagram showing the type, 1 mark, number, 1 mark, and arrangement of chromosomes, 1 mark, within the nucleus of a cell. So that adds up to 7 marks. Moving on to our next set of questions. Question 1.3, the diagram below represents a karyotype of a human cell. Let's see if this karyotype is okay, it's normal. Okay, let us check. What can we see? What can we identify? This karyotype contains 23 pairs of unreplicated chromosomes. So one chromosome. So these two chromosomes form one homologous pair. And the same goes for each and every single pair. So we have pair 1, instead of just chromosome 1, we have pair 1, pair 2, pair 3, until pair number 23. So it contains 23 pairs of chromosomes. Remember, the first 22 are autosomes and the last pair is the gonosomes. Okay, so how many chromosomes in total? 46. Remember, each pair has 2 chromosomes. And how many chromosomes do we have in total? We have 23. So the total number of chromosomes we have here would be 46. So yeah, this is a normal standard diploid karyotype. It is diploid because it has 2 sets of chromosomes, 46 in total. Right. Now, does this cell or karyotype belong to a male or a female? The answer is a female. Why? Remember, we said when you want to determine the sex, you go to chromosome pair number 23, our gonosomes. I said to you, you will not always be given that it is X and Y. And another thing that I said to you is that if both chromosomes are the same size, therefore both of them are X chromosomes. If they are not, the larger one is the X chromosome and the smaller one is the Y chromosome. So this belongs to a female because it has 2 X gonosomes or 2 X chromosomes as pair number 23. Would the karyotype above best represent that of a male or female? The answer is female. Question 1.2.3, explain your answer to question 1.3.1. Like we said, the gonosomes, before I go there, the instruction says explain. So the instruction verb says explain. Okay, so of course it is going to be 2 marks. Very much important for you to check the allocation of marks versus the action verb. So explain, you mention and you go further. You give a reason, okay? So the gonosomes, specifically, we look at the gonosomes. That's where we get an indication as to is the karyotype a male or a female. Or if you don't want to say gonosomes, you can say chromosome pair 23 to get this 1 mark. Are the same size. Okay, they are the same size. Or they are X and X, or you can say they are homologous to qualify for the second mark. Question 1.3.3, provide a biological term describing chromosome pair 1 to pair 22 collectively. A biological term, very important, describing chromosome pair 1 to pair 22 collectively. So we are looking at a collective biological term that describes chromosome pair 1 to pair 22. And the answer would be autosomes. Remember, pair 1 to pair 22 In a diploid cell, these are body chromosomes, otherwise known as autosomes. Now, which one do we give? Do we give autosomes or do we give body chromosomes? The instruction is clear, biological term. So if you write the general term, which is body chromosomes, you would be wrong, because you are examined, or you are required to give the biological term by the examiner. Right. This is the last of our exam type questions. Okay, let's check. The question reads, the diagram below represents a human life cycle. Okay, now we have dealt with the lesson on the human life cycle, and because it is a cycle, it doesn't matter where you start. Analyze the diagram and check where it is most convenient for you to start. Okay, for me, I am going to start analyzing from cell A and cell B. Okay, remember, when you're answering these questions, please practice, get into the habit of having your pencil or your pen, and on the question paper, even in informal settlements, not informal settlements, informal activities, informal activities that you do in class or that you do at home in the form of homework. Remember to have your pen and label the unlabeled parts of whatever diagram that you are given. Okay, now for me, I'm going to start here at cell A and cell B. Okay, so we have cell A and cell B. They are going to undergo the process of fertilization. Okay, so which two cells do you know are going to fuse through the process of fertilization? That would be our gametes. So this would either be our sperm cell or an ovum, and that would also be a sperm cell, or it might be an ovum. The sperm cell and the ovum are going to fertilize to form cell C. Okay, the product of fertilization is one particular cell that is called a zygote. The clue is that it comes after fertilization, immediately after fertilization, and that it is diploid. Okay, now because cell C is diploid, cell A and cell B must contain a haploid number of chromosomes, and a haploid number of chromosomes in humans, we said, is 23. So cell A, being a sperm cell or an egg cell, would have 23 chromosomes, and cell B, being a sperm cell or an egg cell, would also contain 23 chromosomes. And after fertilization, the 23 plus 23 will give us a zygote containing a diploid number of chromosomes, which will be 46. Okay, now from here, cell A would undergo process 1 to eventually become an adult male and an adult female. Now, which process do we know takes a zygote, being one cell, and divides it for growth to form an adult male and an adult female? That process will be known as mitosis. Okay, now the adult male and the adult female will undergo process 2 to form what we have already labeled as our gametes. That would be meiosis. Okay, that would be meiosis. So you would write meiosis over there. Let's look at the questions. Identify cell C. So a cell C is the product of fertilization, and check, they say cell C, meaning it is only one cell. All right, so cell A and B, our gametes, are going to fertilize to form a zygote. Okay, let's check if that's the correct answer. Okay, where's the answer now? There it is. It is the zygote. Identify process 1. The clue process. So it is not a cell, it is a process. So the zygote, like we said, undergoes process 1 to eventually form an adult male and an adult female. So process 1 would be mitosis. It is therefore growth. The following question: how many, so here we are looking at the numbers, okay? Chromosomes are found in cell A. We check cell A. Cell A fuses with cell B during the process of fertilization. So cell A is either a sperm cell or an ovum. So in humans, remember we are looking at the human life cycle. In humans, cell A contains how many chromosomes? Because it is diploid, it would contain 23 chromosomes. Okay, let's check if that's correct. That is absolutely correct. So how many pairs of chromosomes are found in cell C? How many pairs of chromosomes, guys? How many pairs of chromosomes? In a diploid cell, cell C, remember we said is a zygote. That is a diploid cell. Remember, a diploid cell contains 23 chromosomes, 46 chromosomes in total, and those 46 chromosomes are arranged in 23 homologous pairs. All right? So the answer to this question is not 46. The question is not asking about how many chromosomes we have. It is asking how many pairs of chromosomes we have in a diploid cell. Okay? So the answer would be 23 pairs of chromosomes. All right? Had the question asked how many chromosomes, it would be 46. However, be very careful. Be very careful. The question is asking about the pairs of chromosomes, and we have 23 pairs. The next question: explain the function of process 2 in relation to fertilization. Explain the function of process 2 in relation to fertilization for 2 marks. Process 2, we said, is meiosis. Okay, so we're not only looking at any function, we are looking at the function of meiosis as it relates to fertilization. Okay. Process 2 reduces the number of chromosomes from diploid to haploid to prevent the doubling effect of fertilization. Remember what we said in the previous slides, that the gametes that are produced by meiosis must always be haploid. Why? Because fertilization doubles whatever number of chromosomes we find in our gametes, it will double it. So if it finds 46 chromosomes, it will double it to make it 92 chromosomes. And then we said in humans that would be invalid. Okay, guys, that would be invalid. Human beings cannot have 92 chromosomes in their zygotes. Okay, but meiosis would not only produce gametes, it will ensure that those gametes are haploid by reducing the number of chromosomes from diploid to haploid to avoid the doubling effect of fertilization. So it ensures that the gametes are haploid so that the zygote will always be diploid and not quadruploid. The final question: provide 2 other functions of process 2. So 2 other functions of meiosis. So besides reducing the number of chromosomes from diploid to haploid, what else does meiosis do? Remember, there are 3 significances or 3 functions of meiosis. It produces gametes, or you can say it is responsible for gametogenesis. Remember, the word gametogenesis is the production of gametes. What else does it do? It ensures genetic variation. It ensures that all the sperm cells that it produces every single day are genetically different from each other, and all the ova that are produced every 28 days are different than the ovum that was produced in the 28 days before that. Okay, guys, be careful. This question is saying other functions. So if you include the function that was stipulated in question 1.3.3, you will be discredited. We need a function besides the one that you already mentioned in question 1.3.3. Okay, so just like that, we are done with our 3 activities on the introduction of meiosis. So guys, we have reached the conclusion on lesson 1 of the lesson series of meiosis. I hope this was a very productive lesson for you, as it was for me. Please, 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 if there are any concepts that you do not understand, rewatch the video, pause the video, do the activities. If you have any questions still or any form of confusion, please include your questions or your contributions on the comments. And remember, if you've enjoyed the content on my lesson, to like, comment, subscribe to be notified when I will be posting lesson 2 on meiosis. And please do share the link to this video. You can share to your teacher, you can share to your fellow learners, for them to be able to master life sciences as well. Please do not be selfish. Okay. As usual, I appreciate you watching my videos. The next lesson will be on the process of meiosis. We will be discussing meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time, and goodbye.